Welcome to the Just Jim radio show. We are here living live and doing our thing. Here at the Just Jim radio show, we look to bring you inspiration, information, some ideas and concepts that might have you look a little closer at who you are, how things are, how life is, how it can be different. And maybe open a window, a door, or stir some kind of a aha for you along the way. I'm Reverend Jim Toole, pastor at Sarasota Center of Light, and yet this radio show is called Just Jim because I show up just as Jim and here to just be with what life is about and how we can make it different together. I thank you for listening, for being here, for being a part of not just what I do, but who I am and how we together can make a difference. And I'd say the way things are going in the world today, a little difference would be a good thing. So we're just celebrated the 4th of July. For all of us, it might have looked or been different depending on the gatherings or the celebrations or the way we did what we did. Things certainly are continuing to unfold and look different than they have before. So today we're going to talk about letting freedom ring. Sounds interesting. Seems like we live in the land of the free already. And yet, it feels as if, as we're looking around and watching what's going on, we're almost held captive by what's happening in the world. I mean, it's different for each of us, of course. Some of us are concerned or anxious. Some of us are trying to figure it out. Some of us are angry. All these different situations occurring, I mean, from one end to the other. And understand, Just Jim's not political in any way, shape, or form. So just know that anything I might say during this is just meant to be talking about life, not about any particular opinion, political or otherwise. And yet it's very difficult to look at social media, look at our news, look at what's going on around us and not see so many conflicts. But here we are today looking to look at the other side of that coin. For me, safe, enjoyable, family, food, enjoying each other in a way that is free and open. And I'd say that the reason that I had a 4th of July celebration that was free and open was because it was all based on respect and love and caring, consideration. So even though I did have family members over at my home, we were very careful and did what we needed to do to keep the safety and well-being of everybody involved. So I hope that you had a good one. I hope that you got to do some things you enjoyed and that you got to celebrate this freedom that we're meant to have in our lives and in the world. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable, say that 3 times real quick, unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I've always thought that whole pursuit of happiness thing was interesting, but we'll get to that in a minute. We hold these truths. I don't know that many of you have read that recently, but I think most of you might remember it being said or read or part of maybe a history lesson, or maybe it's just ingrained in your head someplace that you may have remembered it from school. But holding truths. We all have a decision to make on a moment-to-moment basis about how we see the world and how we feel about the truth as we see it. These truths that are listed in this document are meant to declare our ability to be free, to live free, And yet we each interpret and experience our truth differently, and we hold these truths differently. Some of us hold on tight, some of us don't so much. Some of that's based on our personality. Some of it's based on how we live our lives, or how we want to create or manifest or express ourselves. To be self-evident, we're back to what is the evidence that our self sees as being true in this document or anything else that's going on. And I have to say out loud, very clearly, it's really hard to tell nowadays. You look at the numbers, you look at the statements, you look at the media, you look at the news, you listen to what people have to say that you know, that you don't know. What is true? What is the evidence that gives us the truth we're looking for? Well, that's each of us our own. And that all men are created equal, all men and women. We know that there's a great deal of focus in one particular direction in this particular period, and with documents like this. This is not about men or women, of course. This is not gender specific. Have all of them have the availability, all of us, the opportunity to be all that we are, equally, without limit. Nothing keeps us from being who we are. Well, unless we're breaking a law or something like that. You get my point. Being is not doing. And that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, endowed to provide with something freely or naturally, provide with a quality or an ability, each of us expressing our truth freely, expressing our opinion freely, again, to a certain degree. And I have to say that in the respect to sharing our truth or being who we are and how that may create or not create conflicts, many times it has to do with how we bring our truth to who we are and how we share it and how we offer it one to the other. If we're standing in our truth and we are clear about what it is, not imposing it, and open to what others have to say with respect, we create an opening that everybody can say what needs to be said, and we can all share in this freedom of our speech and otherwise that we've been endowed by our Creator, as it says in the document, whatever that might look like, sound like, be described by you, by what you trust and believe in. So we've got two different levels going on here. Unalienable rights, unable to be taken away from or given away. They're yours. Part of that has to do with the document and the way that our country established its freedom. And in this particular case, in this particular document, attempts to deliver that to the people. And then we see by their Creator written right into the document. So we have this endowment of self-will, of the ability to choose, of our spirit, of our expression, of our spiritual self, and our involvement in this particular country, our country, society, our choice to align with the laws that have been established. That among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, as we make our way in our life, experiencing our liberty, whether we're pursuing happiness or not, there's this sense of our own inner connection to what we know is true, our connection to and interaction with and relationship to what's around us, our government, each other, society, humanity, the world. And then we have our truth, our spiritual truth, and our connection to, endowed by our Creator, whatever that might be to you. And so we have this chance to live free in our spirit, live free in our own truth within our own little world that we live within, And then there's the step outside of you being you and you trusting what you do and into the world. Then life shows up. And all of its circumstances and situations and conditions that we participate in. So have you lately asked yourself, what is my truth? Am I living it in my life? Because when situations come up that have us question what's safe or what's not, or what's right or what's wrong, or what's good or what's bad, these judgments we have to make, it can put a bit of a shakedown in our foundation of what we always thought was true. Kind of cuts through when world events or events occur that shock the world. And we have this, again, moment by moment decision to decide what our truth is. Have you asked yourself lately? I invite you to consider taking some time to say to yourself, stop the activities and the carrying on of what we do day to day, the cycles and merry-go-rounds we've created, and say, this is what I truly believe. For myself, with myself, in my life. Life, an expression of the Spirit into the and through our thoughts, feelings, and actions. The expression of our divinity through our humanity. What does that mean? What that means is that we are a constant reflection of that spark of life that we are at the very core of our being, into and through everything we encounter every day. And we do it through our thoughts, our feelings, our decisions, our actions. This is the way we participate, and yet it all originates within us. So we are life. We are free in our own personal lives to be what we choose as our truth. We bring that close to home into our relationships, our family, maybe our friendships, our coworkers. And as we're reaching out further and further, the expression of that then becomes an interaction or a relationship, how we relate to the world, and it relates to me. So as we're looking, say, this is my truth today, even though my truth may have been something different 3 months ago. Now, how am I going to bring that truth in freedom? How am I going to feel free doing it? And how am I going to bring my truth through freedom in a way that is respectful and honorable and considerate to others? Because we're in this together, folks. It's not as if we can't have differing opinions. It's not about the differences. It's about how we communicate or how we interact or how we relate or how we are. It's not complicated. It's just something that we don't always stop long enough to think about. And today I'm asking you to consider that. Consider that you are free, and so are we. In fact, liberty is the state of being free. Life, liberty, not being imprisoned or enslaved, the power or scope to act as one pleases. These are definitions of liberty. So we've been talking about, I feel like if I get up every day, do the best I can with what I've got, with what I know and who I am and my truth, and be real each and every moment with respect for myself and others, it works out okay. Not necessarily a mantra, but something to consider. It breaks things down to simplicity because we're all looking for the third one, happiness. We've got life. We've got liberty. We really do. What is the pursuit of happiness? I don't know.